So if you've ever ridden the New York City subway anytime in the last 20 something years, you may have noticed this hustle of selling MetroCard swipes for a discounted price compared to what the MTA sells a ride for. Typically, these swipes go for $2. But how are they able to sell MetroCard swipes for profits? Before I explain how this exploit works, we have to go back to the first MetroCard way back in the 90s, the blue MetroCard, the predecessor to the gold MetroCard we've known now for 20 years. The thing with the blue MetroCard was that the magnetic swiping system was buggy, and the user experience was difficult, and often took multiple swipes to actually get read by the turnstile. This is likely what led the MTA to adjust the system and make it more readable and improve the ridership experience, which inadvertently created the vulnerability in the system that allowed for this MetroCard exploit. So the MetroCard has 3 tracks on the magnetic strip. Track number 3 stores static data that never changes, such as expiration date and serial number. If this track is unreadable, the MetroCard will never work. Tracks 1 and 2 store the last 2 transactions that occurred on the MetroCard. Things like how much money is on the card, where and when was it last swiped, whether it was a transfer. The MetroCard vending machines have cards with track 3 already filled. When you purchase a MetroCard, it writes the necessary data to track 1. So the turnstile consists of 3 magnetic heads. The first reads the existing card data. The second writes the new data back to the card. The third verifies the transaction. At some interval, the turnstile batch uploads its data to a station computer, which uploads to a central server. It also downloads a list of banned cards that it should not accept. When you swipe, the data is read. The turnstile determines if it's a banned card. It reads both tracks 1 and 2 and determines which is the older transaction. The older transaction track is the one that will be rewritten with the current transaction. The data is written. The fare is deducted from the remaining balance. The older track is rewritten with a new balance and all the other relevant metadata. The data is verified, and so the gates open. But what if something goes wrong? The magnetic readers and user swipes aren't perfect, so the above sequence does not always complete. If step 1 read fails, the MetroCard is the same as it was before, and you will see the message, please swipe again. If step 3 verify fails, the MetroCard machine does not know if step 2 write succeeded or not, but it still has the transaction data in memory. So you will see please swipe again at this turnstile, and it will see if step 1 read already has the data it was trying to write. Okay, let the user through. Or if not, it will try step 2, write the data again, and then verify it. Here's the key to understanding the trick. There is no way for the turnstile to verify that step 2, write, succeeded. Okay, let's say step 1, read, succeeds, and then step 2, write, is halfway done when the user lifts his or her card, suddenly leaving it in a half-written state. Is the MetroCard now damaged because there's a bunch of garbage written to it? No. This is because there are 2 tracks and the turnstile writes to the older track. Because if you have a failed step 2, write, it will override the older transaction. So if you swipe a MetroCard with only 1 valid track, the turnstile will assume that the track is the most recent data, and then go through its normal process to update the data. This is because under normal operating circumstances, the turnstile would only ever attempt to write to the older track. So if you haven't put it together yet, The scam works by tricking the turnstile into reading the older track and writing it back to the newer track. So the scammer bends the card so that only one of the two tracks is readable. The scammer swipes the card. It can only read one of the two tracks, so the machine says, "Please swipe again." The scammer swipes again, and the machine fails to read the same card for a second time in a row. It now sees two consecutive swipes of the same card with the same damaged track and assumes that the track is damaged because it contains a failed write to the card. Assuming that it's failed to write, it will never be able to read that track. It just trusts that one track can read as the most recent transaction and continues with the normal process of writing the new data back to the card. But because the card is bent, step 2, write, also fails. The machine tries to verify the transaction and it fails. So it now assumes that it has a successful read and failed write and enters "Please swipe again" at the turnstile, where it will write the data it has stored in memory back to the card. The scammer unbends the card and swipes it again. Now that both tracks are accessible, the machine writes the data back to the card, verifies it, and opens the turnstile. Please note that this type of activity carries a 3-month jail sentence and should not be attempted at one's local subway station. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, peace.